To this now, the Eastern Cape Liquor Board hosted its second annual Underage Drinking Awareness race today. Post-exam parties as well as underage drinking have become the norm among the youth. The issue was highlighted 2 years ago when 21 young people died at the Enyobeni Tavern out in East London. Mr. Ntimane, CEO of Liquor Traders Association, joins us now to further unpack this. Lucky, as always, thank you so much for your time. So tell us more about this race. We understand the race took place out in East London. Well, did the aim to discourage underage drinking actually resonate with the participants as well as the community?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Firstly, allow me to acknowledge the wonderful work done by the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, led by Dr. Makala, for actually having taken this initiative to ensure, and today's race was actually a second edition of it. And its aim is to create awareness around the issues of underage drinking, but as well as binge drinking. And we feel that, it is the right approach by the Liquor Board, but also the community involvement in this race makes it worth a while. So we are feeling that, a lot is being done to address the issue of underage drinking in Eastern Cape. In fact, in the month of July, we'll be embarking on 4 programs with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board, sponsored by Heineken Beverages, to ensure that we carry on the message of ensuring that we discourage the young ones from having access to alcohol, but also strengthening the ties that we have with liquor traders that they continue to sell alcohol in a responsible manner.
Lucky, will you be furthering your mandate and taking this great initiatives countrywide?
I think that will actually be the next approach, because if you look at the issue of underage drinking and alcohol abuse in general, it is not something that is restricted to the Eastern Cape, but it's a problem that we experience everywhere. I think we will be lying if we come here and say that underage drinking is not a problem in the country. In fact, we are the first to admit that we have rotten apples in our midst, those that continue to sell alcohol to underage, people that are putting profits ahead of the lives and social welfare of our people, and we need to call them out. Hence, we are partnering with South African Police Services and various liquor boards to ensure that those that are caught actually lose their licenses. So we are that serious that anyone who's not willing, to play ball, to be compliant with the license regulations ought to lose their licenses. They have no space to play in the alcohol industry if they're not willing to do the basics, which is to adhere to the license regulations.
And speaking of adherence to those regulations, what do you suggest then as the liquor traders as other means or forms of entertainment for those youth? And what more do you think can still be done by communities or even collaborative efforts with government to ensure that this message actually resonates with the youth, especially in areas where, as we've just spoken about it, there is little development or few or no access to extramural activities, and therefore some of the liquor traders there find it very hard to adhere to the Liquor Act?
I think we are the first to admit that as the alcohol industry, and certainly as liquor traders, we do not have all the answers to addressing the issue of alcohol abuse. In fact, if anything, I think we've managed as a country to sweep the issue of alcohol abuse under the carpet for a very long time. And this reared its ugly head during COVID, when people started to drink all sorts of concoctions so that they can replace the legal alcohol. And that has not stopped. We still see, a prominence of illicit and counterfeit alcohol in our midst. But importantly, to your point, we need a solution that will require us to work with the NGOs, to work with communities, to work with civil society and government to ensure that we develop a coherent strategy that will ensure that we're able to fight alcohol abuse wherever it rears its ugly head.
And socio-economic issues, particularly in far-flung areas, be it your poverty or lack of access to some of the basic services. So these children actually grow up in an environment where the usage of alcohol is pretty much a day-to-day thing. They observe it from, their family structures. So are you then looking into maybe going into other collaborative or taking upon other collaborative initiatives in order to try and deal with the initial original issues around family structures and how these young ones can be kept away from consuming alcohol?
I think the issue of lack of facilities in our townships, in our villages, also lends itself to kids not having a form of entertainment. And the only thing that is left for them is to partake in alcohol. But we also know that alcohol abuse is fueled by people wanting to find solace and escape from their normal daily activities, which are in dire strait, moving into alcohol. So I think the solution will then lie in a collective effort. Government will need to play their part. Civil society will need to play their part. I mean, we saw the report for Enyobeni, for example, which highlighted that the SABC and government and local municipality ought to have played a part in ensuring that Enyobeni doesn't happen. But we feel differently that also liquor traders need to play their part. Communities need to play their part. I think for us to be able to fight the scourge of alcohol abuse in the country, we'll all need to come to the party and ensure that we do this the African way, where we are responsible for someone's child. If I say a child holding a bottle of alcohol, I need to be able to talk to them. I think that is the way in which we are able to deal with this, because if we just throw hands when we see someone drinking alcohol when they should not be drinking because it's not our child, that is not going to be the solution. We need to work together. We need social cohesion. We need even religious leaders to come to the party, work together to ensure that we create safe environments for our kids outside of alcohol.
And Lucky, in closing, I mean, what can you do as the Liquor Traders Association in terms of enforcing adherence to the Liquor Acts, particularly for those illegal liquor traders or those that actually just disregard any Liquor Act as well as laws pertaining to the sale of alcohol in their various communities?
So the challenge that we have is that we've got liquor traders which are licensed, and in our townships we call them taverns, but we also have shebeens, which is an illegal establishment, and those are selling alcohol as well. And in the country we have about 200,000 of shebeens and about 42,000 taverns. So even though we're dealing with the issue of illegal trading where kids are having access to alcohol, but we also have a much bigger problem with the shebeens who do not have to comply to any laws because they should not be existing in any event. And those are the ones that are actually pushing the issue of underage drinking in our communities. So police also need to play their part, because the issue of enforcement is it's on the side of the police as well as the liquor board. And our call to the police and the liquor board is that anyone who's caught selling alcohol to underage ought to lose their licenses right away.
Geez, that's a staggering number, like 200,000 taverns across the country. Thank you so much for your input this afternoon. As always, that is Mr. Ntimane, the CEO of the Liquor Traders Association.